And we're back. Thanks so much for tuning in. We are here with round 3. We've got Paul No on red, purple Luffy. I've pulled that card up for the new players just so you can see what it does. This has been an interesting choice. Jacob was just mentioning, this is the third red, purple Luffy he's played in a row. So 3 from 3 rounds. He's beaten red, purple Luffy a couple of times already. Normally a 6k leader would be obviously really hard for a lot of different decks to deal with, but not so much Katakuri, because they can get to 7 or 8k, or 8k in particular with only 2 Dons, so really being able to put the pressure on there. Now, both players have elected to take a mulligan, so we'll be looking at a fresh set of 5, and we will see what they decide to go with. Now, I can't remember exactly who won the dice roll. We'll be able to see that very, very shortly. Anyway, but let's talk game plan. Katakuri is going to have one plain and simple thing to do. Get your 7, 8, and 10 costs out as soon as possible. Maybe play a few bodies in there, but they're typically not putting a huge amount of pressure on early, just because the 10 cost can just blank that life. Red, purple Luffy, there's a few different builds, but typically they all are on the same top end, and that is your Whitebeard as well as your 10 cost purple secret Luffy to try and finish the game out. So red, purple Luffy going first. Turn 3 shuts off a few different plays. Typically, sometimes you see the Ain come down to try and ramp up, but we won't be seeing that on turn 2 here. Katakuri starting off strong with the pudding, and let's see what they decide to grab. Still having a look. And we get 7 cost. Going second allows for the 7k swing into lead, and then the 7 cost, and getting it down turn 4 is going to be huge, because that red-purple Luffy is not going to be at 0 by turn 4. That'll be a passing of the turn. Red-purple Luffy, 3 Dons, a bit of an awkward number for it. They can play the Zoro. I'll have to find it to talk you through it and show you what that ability does. Bear with me, there are a lot of Zoro cards. So I'm just going to do my best to find it. And look at that, second one listed. So that was actually a bit easier than I thought. So this is probably... Ooh. I was about to sit here and say that'd be the play, but we have... Oh my goodness. Is that... Yep, that's Thousand Sunny. A starter deck card. This is the Thousand Sunny, ladies and gentlemen. Rest it. Give one of your Straw Hats plus 1,000 power during this turn. Allowing... I don't mind it. Makes during your turn, makes that Luffy leader a 7k. That's actually really, really spicy. A good early play, but potentially bricking late game. But hey, seeing it on curve, this is a great start from Red Purple Luffy, and I can't wait to see what this brings. So it looks like we are back to the Katakuri player. That is Jacob's turn. He has the 4 Don, and he's electing just to throw down a 4 cost, and that is going to be the Sanji. No point swinging because it is a 5 to 6k, and he will ship the turn back. So not going with the crazy ramp, unless we see an Ain this turn to try and get to that magic number of 8. For those unaware, when Luffy gets to 8 Don or more, or 0 Don, they can activate their leader ability and get... a Don in active mode. John Bart comes down. That's going to be the ramp in active. And then I think we're going to see Thousand Sunny give 1k to lead. Nami? Is this a Nami? It is... It is indeed a Nami. That is the gift pack edition. Kind of threw me for a second. So, again, let's see if... Oh, we've got options. So it could be... Usually they typically play the 2Ks, Radical Beam, or we could get our top end. This would give us an idea of what Paul is potentially missing here. So, having a look, and decides to go with the... Oh, I always forget that card. That's the... is it Gum Gum Gatling? So it's one of those events that every colour is soon to have one, where you can discard another card and it basically becomes 3,000 power. So it's essentially... I like to call them a 2,000 combo, and it gives 1,000 combo to a potentially dead card in your hand. We're going to see Luffy go up to a 7, and we're going to see a combo out here from the Katakuri player. I don't think they were in that bad a spot. I wouldn't have minded taking that hit. Going to 3, and then potentially hitting another trigger to pressure that life. Now, I did mention that pressure earlier. Here, I reckon you're going to see probably 2 Don make their way onto the Sanji, and 1 each the Katakuri. Followed then either by a Parasparrow or just another 4 cost to create, again, more of that pressure. The Sanji might not be long for this world, but I find against Red Purple Luffy, you just have to chip away at them. Okay? Get your, obviously, crits in when you can, but those constant 6Ks are how you're going to beat this Red Purple Luffy deck. If I can go back to the Red Purple Luffy here, here's one I prepared earlier. Something worth noting for the new players here, it only has a total of, sorry, I'll just move it down a bit, 3 life. Okay, now you might say, oh, but it's a 6K, that's not too bad. But remember, those, you know, comparing it to, say, a 5-cost leader, that's 2 less attacks you need, and that's 2 less cards that the Red Purple Luffy deck is seeing. Here's an AK swing. So it looks to me as though, I mean, this is a tough one because there's the option of going, do I just put 1 Don on the Sanji? But he's really being aggressive here. So he's going to force the Luffy player down to 2. There's no way he can combo out of this one. This will see him probably drop down to 2. This will limit his play. There we go. So going down to 2 and no trigger. Mission accomplished there. There's the argument to probably go 6 with Sanji, put 4 Don onto the pudding and go 6, and then go 7 with the Katakuri. But having that Nami there makes it a bit awkward because the pudding might be saved for a Katakuri, and the pudding can get cleared by the Nami if it does get into the red zone. So, we had, what was that, 7? A 9k swing from the Katakuri, and then we had an 8k swing from the Sanji there. The turn has gone back now to Paul. Now, I'm just going to count the Don. He did go first, and he ramped 1, so 8, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong. 5, 9. He's already used ability by the looks of it. So he does get that 9th Don. This could be an Edward Newgate coming onto the field here. That'd be a good kind of turn for him there. They can sometimes play the Kaido. Typically they don't. We've got 5 going into the red zone, which leads me to believe there's either going to be a split and playing a heap of characters, or he's ready to enact something. So 5 in the red zone. Kata's going to combo out of this. The 1000 Sunny is going to give that Luffy +1 and probably crash into the Sanji here. The trouble is, Kata's one of those 5 life leaders, so it's going to be hard to take him down. We see him kind of thumbing through that Don now, and +1, 6, 7, 8. An 8k swing into lead. I'm not sure why he just didn't leave it at 7. To me, that kind of accomplishes the same thing. But maybe just trying to force more 2Ks out of his hand. He's going to take it and trigger a Pero Sparrow. Again, just to put some more pressure back here. We now know that Whitebeard or Edward Newgate is not a play that we can see this turn. So 5 from the red... Is this going to be Rush Luffy? It is. So we have the non-signature version there. He's going to double Don it up. That's what, 6, 7, 8. 8 coming into lead. Bit of some strange numbers here, but perhaps he senses some weakness here in the swings, and then it looks like we are going to see a passing of the turn, 1 Don open, and that 1 Don surely has to be a Radical Beam. You could try and bluff it, but typically a lot of these players, why would you let an 8k get into the red zone if you know you didn't have the Rad Beam, and you could have easily pumped it to 9. So we definitely have a Rad Beam in the hand of the Red Purple Luffy player. This is just another reason that this Pero Sparrow trigger was a really good one to hit, because the 6k swings are, I think, going to be the undoing of Luffy if it does get to that point. Drain the hand, force their big threat, and hopefully your Big Mums and Katakuris can help you survive long enough, as well as any kind of Brules or Sanji blockers, or even Beige to help stall the game out. Now, interestingly, this does also leave open Jean Bart, so he can swing the Pero Sparrow and the Sanji into just a 5k, which would be really, really handy here. And then possibly load up 8 Don. Well, and even going up to 8 is so brutal to try and deal with that Luffy. 9 Don, so we know the 10 cost won't be coming down either. So let's see how Jacob chooses to actually, I guess, deal with this board state. The first swing is going to be the most vital. And here we go, Pero Sparrow, no Don, so we know it's going into the Jean Bart. And we've got Paul choosing to let that Jean Bart do its job and just get the ramp and then pass away. Looks like we might have Jacob going back to the drawing board. Maybe he was expecting a counter out and then send the Sanji or the leader into it. Typically, we don't see these decks play Yamato at this point. it just creates too many high-cost threats for the Katakuri that can brick up their hand. So I'm going to say, go on a limb and say that the Yamato is out of the question. I don't have access to the deck list, unfortunately. He could be weighing up potentially a 7 cost here. Or the 8 cost Katakuri, putting a card on life, which, being realistic, is probably going to have to be the pudding, I'd say, at this point. He could also be thinking, how do I deal with this Luffy? And the answer is, you need to go probably a minimum of 10. And you could also see a world where we put the Luffy onto life, and that's what we're seeing there. Now, to me, this leans more towards, hey, he had a chance to drop a 9 cost Newgate, and I think that 100% would have been the play. So he didn't do that. Maybe his hand is a little bit bricked. Maybe we can capitalize on this, stall the game out, and set up a world where he goes 10 cost Lin into 10 cost Lin. It is a little bit risky because we've got those guaranteed swings, but the Sanji, you can see, well, there's no point in swinging the Sanji anyway, so the Sanji can jump underneath that. And here, we've got Paul just slamming down, no hesitation, slamming down that Luffy. So for those, I'll get that card up on screen now so we can have a look at what it does. I know I definitely misread it when the card first came out. Let's see how long it takes me to find. Oh man, pretty quick. 6th card. So, Don -10. Place all of your characters except this character at the bottom of your deck in any order. Take an extra turn after this one. Seems good. There was only the Nami to lose, so that's perfectly fine. And then he can add a Don for 1. Now that might say, well, you lose all 10 of your Don. Well, as we're seeing here, he was able to activate the purple Luffy leader effect. So I'll quickly just get that, again, purple Luffy leader up. So you can see here that at 0 Don, he can actually ramp that 1 Don. And then from there, he can use the purple Luffy effect to get another Don. Now, here comes the second turn, and this is where you're going to see him climb up to 5 Don with the purple Luffy ability again. So, choosing to take the swing here, 7k from that Luffy, saving the Sanji for probably the big swing of the Monkey Luffy. Worth noting, the Pero Sparrow, he didn't go into it last turn, so it leads me to believe he may just ignore it. It's always that awkward situation, but with how much life we see Jacob at, I think that the Pero Sparrow is safe to ignore, and we can just put our foot on the accelerator. That Sanji is being very painful. Now, we know that usually this red-purple Luffy runs 1 or 2 diable Jambe to give a Straw Hat unblockable for 1 Don, an event card. We see the 1, it's going to go onto the Luffy, well and truly. He's picking up a number of Don, looks like 3 Don, and he's going to go, that's 7, 10, but it has to be lead. Now, he's got to be very careful here. Very, very careful. This, I think, should actually prompt a block. Otherwise, we could see the diable Jambe come down and a 12k swing come into Katakuri. Now, worth noting, the Katakuri player isn't actually in a terrible position here. And let's see if he's left 1 Don open. Do we have the Jambe? Do we have a 12k swing coming in? He's pulling a card forward. Oh, he's resting it. Here we go. The Jambe is coming down. Let's see if he pulled enough 2Ks here. This is why I thought Sanji should have jumped under the bus. And then the Pero Sparrow and the Katakuri could have tried to close it out next turn. But at 3 life, putting that Luffy on top maybe just shut that line of play off. And he drops the hand. So there we go. The diable Jambe coming down and shutting that Sanji off was the ultimate game ender there for him, unfortunately. I don't think there was a way he could have got 4 meaningful swings off to try and deal with it. But either way, that's just what we've seen there. I think he was kind of forced a little bit because if he didn't deal with that red-purple Luffy, I think he was just kind of in a world of hurt anyway. And keeping that 1 Don open, threatening the Radical Beam, made it so he had to probably get up to 12k to force 3 cards out of hand from the red-purple Luffy player. But what a great game to start us off with. I'm just going to do a quick time check on this one. We still have 23 minutes left in the round. I'm going to go and jump down to another game now. So we'll go see how Table 2 is doing. I won't change the names. We'll just roll with it. So in here, we've got a purple Luffy up against a Charlotte Katakuri. Still a fair bit of life, so we should get at least 5-10 minutes out of this game here. It looks like we are in Whose turn is it? Is Purple Luffy still attacking? Or is this going to be... I think it's the Katakuri player's turn. Now, this is always a very interesting matchup. I find if the Purple Luffy player doesn't hit their curve well, they can struggle against Katakuri if the late game is just too much. We see an 8k swing coming in here. This is probably going to go towards either Leader or Eustace Kid. It's always tough when you got the blockers out. We know there's no 10 cost coming down. We know the Katakuri player only has 4 cards in hand, so we know there's no big threat coming down. Purple Luffy figuring it out. So we've got a 2k, a 1k, and I think there has to be one more card. Maybe not. Oh, hang on, 9. Oh, so there was only 3 Don put on. So it was an 8 into the Kid by the looks of it, and they've comboed out up to 9. We've got 6 Don remaining. No blocker being used there, so Purple Luffy can really put some pressure on next turn. We're probably going to see either a Cracker or a Sanji or a Perospero come down and then just load up Katakuri and go into the Eustace Kid. I think this will either force a combo out from the Purple Luffy player or the Trafalgar Law will jump under the bus. Here comes the AK swing into the Eustace Kid, no doubt. Looks at his hand. Do we see the 2 cards go down, or how's he going to sequence this? He's certainly thinking about it. We see the one rested Blast Breath. Yep, there's the Blast Breath. Keep in mind, this does put him off, I believe, what's count his Don? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. He was at 8 Don, so he won't go to the full 10 next turn. But that way he doesn't have to hold the Don up next turn, so I think that's a fine trade. Again, you'll probably see a 4 cost come down here. That's why he's purposely left the 4 Don open. It'll probably be a Sanji, as I said, a Sanji or a Cracker here. There could also be the combination of maybe a Pudding into something else. Just thinking about it. He's toying with us. 4. Oh no, just loading it up. So he's going to send 6. Absolutely. He's been targeting the Kid the whole game. He's still going to target the Kid. And there we go. Just the 1k page 1 to get out of that one. So, look, it sounds like the hand for our Katakuri player is a little bit bricked up. Either with a heavy counter or just nothing really worthwhile to play. As the Purple Luffy player, you have to be 100% happy with that. Yes, you got rid of 4 cards out of your hand, but you have kept a 7 cost 9k, a 6 cost 6k, a 5 cost 6k, 4 cost 5k, and a 5 cost 6k. You've got a wealth of blockers in front of you. I wouldn't be surprised if he just ignores the Perospero and just tries to go for game. Now, if he had the Kaido, I think we would have seen it come down here and clear the way out of the Sanji. But he's just going through the math here. It looks like he's put 7 Don to the side. He probably doesn't have the 7 cost Kid because he's swinging in with Luffy first, just trying to get a read on his hand. Maybe just force some cards out of his hand and then go for the Perospero clear. Potentially keeping a couple of those blockers up. I feel like he's got to drop him to at least 2 here. Just to set up an easy kind of win in the following turns. Here comes the Queen into the red zone for 7. This has to be going Leader. It's so dangerous because a Thunderbolt can just absolutely destroy his plans here. He's thinking about the trigger. What do we got? Perospero. Okay. So he'll replace the Pudding. Probably the rested one. Oh, no, Shirahoshi. Oh, he's thinking about it. For those wondering why you may not get rid of that Shirahoshi, I've just realized, sorry, the countdown's kind of messed up on me. I'll just bring up the Shirahoshi and why it is so good. So, this combos really well with the 8 cost Katakuri. And how it combos really well is it, with the Katakuri, you can literally just drop it straight back onto life. And get that trigger again to draw 3, ditch 2. We've got the 9k swing, electing not to block with the Sanji and taking it. And we've got another trigger, and it's a Capone. So the trouble is he's already swung with most cards. Now I think he can actually just play a fair bit defensive here. So He's either got the law or the kid to target. He'll probably target the kid. Oh, did he just point at the law? I think he did. Now, dropping him to 1 could be very dangerous for the Luffy player here. Just because 200 million volts Amaru is now online, and he drops the vanilla. So the vanilla, he's definitely set up a turn, and I hate to say it, this Katakuri player needs to win this turn, I feel. The 1 blocker seems good, but if he has the Kaido, it's just not going to get any value, and we're going to see purple Luffy stomp home with it here. Let's see what he can do with the 10 Don, though. Out it comes. Only 1 life makes it extremely tough. I don't think the 10 cost is going to be good enough either. He gets a free block with the kid. 7 cost could be okay, but then I think the purple Luffy player still just crits a life and goes for game next turn. He really needs to get lucky off that last life. Now, that's unfortunate when players do reveal their hand a bit. We do know that the Kata player has a Thunderbolt in hand. So we know that the Thunderbolt is hanging out there. And this might be a situation where he has to go for game. Like I said earlier, he cannot sit back. But having 4 5Ks and 5 cards in hand, this Pluffy player has a very, very stacked hand, I feel. That being said, you can absolutely brick with Purple Luffy. It runs a lot less combo cards compared to a lot of other meta decks. So let's see the sequencing he goes. I think he has to eliminate the kid first. We do have 1 Don active as well, so it has to respect the Blast Breath too. There's the Amaru. That's going to rest down the law. He's going through it now. So it's whether he wants to chip away, and I think with the 1 Don open, chipping away could be worthwhile, putting it onto the Charlotte Pudding, potentially. So, yep, there goes the law. 3k. Can't confirm where that's gone, but we'll find out shortly. This could be an 8k swing to lead, forcing him to take. If it is on the Perospero. He did kind of signal to that one earlier. But the trouble is a Blast Breath. Like, this would be the hands down the best use of that Blast Breath. We know he had the Thunderbolt too, so not using the Thunderbolt here, I think, is a little bit of a mistake as well. And there's the 2 and 1k. So he must have swung into... We couldn't have swung into board. Where's he swung? I can't figure that one out. Sorry, guys. I think he might have just... Well, we'll have to confirm that later, but I think he matched. Hopefully we find out. Yeah, that's what I thought as well. I might just jump in and confirm. Although, well, I mean, it's theirs. We'll continue. Maybe they're missing something that I'm not. I don't know. We will have to kind of get that confirmed as well. But for now, the play continues. I don't mind a 7k swing here. I think you need to kind of force out some of these cards. In particular, the Blast Breath that he's representing with that 1 Don open. So 7, definitely look at your opponents. We'll see that go face up because of how webcam rules work. Oh no, is that his life? No, I think he Thunderbolt his own. So that's his hand. Sorry, that's his hand. So yeah, he'll have to flip it. And we know that there's just a 1k. I think you just keep that on top. There's no real, like, a lot of the purple... Some purple Luffy lists do play the Baroque Works blocker that you can trigger off life for Don -1. But because it has no counter, a lot of lists kind of stay away from it. He did put it at bottom and it just flips back. Okay, that's fine. Now, let's see how he chooses to get out of this. Yeah, might have to mention that as well. I'll just quickly let the players know. Hey, guys, 2 Don rested for Thunderbolt. Yep, there we go. Fix that up earlier. Look, there is a judge in chat. I don't want to jump in when I can. I probably should have jumped in for the earlier, just confirming what that was. Now, 5 Don remaining. Have we got a Don missing, or am I crazy? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, it's under leader. Okay, it's under leader. So yeah, there wasn't a. I was thinking maybe there was a Don under the Perospero, and he went after one of the other characters, but I don't think he has. So here comes a 7k swing. There. He's taken it. We've got the 5k coming. Oh, sorry, this would be an 8k. So a couple of 2ks. And there's the Blast Breath. So this is all over Red Rover for the Katakuri player. There'll just be a simple unresting and, yeah, GG. He'll get through there. Be interesting to see if that 1k would have mattered, but either way, maybe there was just a miscommunication there. I'm not 100% sure. But that ends that game there. In terms of other games still going, I might jump down. I'll see how much time's left. If there's less than 5 minutes, I won't. Oh, we've still got 11 minutes. I'm going to jump down to a third channel and just see if there's a game going on. So here we still have a game going on. So we'll finish off with this one. We've got Sakazuki into Anel. I love how the webcam stand is kind of encroaching on the playing that there. It's kind of like playing around organised chaos. But hey, clear board state. I'm happy for it. Okay, so Sakazuki into Anel. Let's see how this matchup goes. No real kind of spicy cards from either player. I'll pull up Yamato so you guys can see what Yamato is going to represent here. So he would have cleared the way with one of those cards, no doubt. We see him still at 1 life. Whose turn are we on? We're still... Looks like Sakazuki. He's taking the hit. We'll see a discard for the trigger. He still has a lot of Donna as well. Having the Borsalino means he can play it super defensive here as well. So still a lot of lines here for this Sakazuki player. And that is a thick hand. I think I counted 6 or 7 there. Don count. We know he's got all 10 out. He hasn't played any. We've got 10. I don't think we'll see a Kaido. He could just aim to like counter out of it that way. I'd just be worried about the Amaru. Like having a Yamato and an L, 2 buffed swings and an Amaru can just be lights out if he doesn't play down another blocker. He hasn't also indicated whether we haven't even seen if he's got a way to remove this Yamato, and that could be what he's working towards now, because then short of Amaru into... And I don't even... Honestly, like, unless he's really bricked his hand, even an L into Amaru, I don't think he'll do it. I think he'll still fall short. So here comes a 5k swing. He'll drop the Yamato down to an 8 cost. And then we could see maybe Ice Age into Borsalino. We see the 1k combo out. We could just see the Branu get into the red zone here. Just play out your Hound Blades to get the additional 1k. Try and get it to maybe 7. But that's always the hard part. Do you commit, or do you just kind of wait patiently? I think if he was going to commit, he should have probably done 2 beefier attacks with the Sakazuki and the Borsalino. But we're seeing the Hina come down. That's going to drop it down to a 4 cost. Do we see the Great Eruption Hound Blaze? No, we're just using all 10 Don there. That's a really, really good play there from the Sakazuki. A line I didn't even think about. But, yep, just playing out the Hina and bottom decking it through leader swing as well. So, he's going to be more than happy to pass turn here. As I said, it's going to be really tough for him, even with Anel into 200 million volts Amaru, to try and get through the game here. The trouble is, a Yamato could potentially complicate it. He'll clear the Branu and then go to 2 life, which means 4 swings need to connect. But that being said, the Anel player facing down this Borsalino, it's going to be tough for him. We see a 5k swing. This leads me to believe we've probably got L Thor and maybe Yamato, or he's going to go wide with some ohms, but let's have a look and see what he does. So, easy block just says, you know what, I'm not going to waste my time here. I think you do have the Yamato, And there we go. So that'll come down and kill the Brano. He will get an additional life. So there are 4 connections now needing to be made in order for the Sakazuki player to get the win here. He's going to unrest everything. He does have some great broad presence. In fact, I think if he can clear the Yamato here, short of a trigger, I think the Sakazuki player should have it not locked up, but be feeling pretty comfortable. Anyway, let's see how he chooses to approach it. He's got to be careful because a Thunderbolt off of life, a Thunderbolt out of life can kill the Borsalino as well. That's something worth considering as well. 7, you absolutely take this. Let's see if there's a trigger. Beige on the Borsalino. Yep, there we go. So that can no longer attack for the turn. He can rest easy knowing that he's safe from one of those big swings. And now, if I'm the Sakazuki player, we are shifting gears to defense mode. Okay? So we should, if he wants to guarantee it, I think we need to see probably 2 5 costs or a 5 and a 4 cost come out. And I think just chip away with 5Ks or 6K if he's got the leftover Don. Unless he's got a way to remove the Yamato. Let's have a look and see what he elects to do. So he's used 1 Don. He's only got 9 Don remaining here. Jeez, you feel if a second Borsalino 7 cost comes down here, it's pretty over. And there we go. We're going to see the chip. Try and get more information. Try and see if there's more triggers. Now, usually you want to leave Enel at 1 life, but with a 5k swing from lead and a 5k swing from Hina, I think this is a perfectly acceptable play. If he takes it, you can put your foot on the gas a little bit and attack with the Sakazuki as well as the Borsalino and force his hand. But here, this forces just more cards out of his hand. Yes, he might get a free cycle, but then he's forced to either take the last life or combo out when the Sakazuki attacks. Again, he's got to fade quite a few triggers here in this last life. It's amazing how 1 trigger can just swing the game completely. If he hits the Thunderbolt, okay, no trigger, so he's faded that. This could potentially be a push for game if he wanted to. 8 Don, that gives him 2 9k swings. You'd absolutely have to go leader first. There's a world where you potentially go 8 and 10 as well, just in case that last life is a counter. That would then leave him Don up for a Sabo if you wanted to slam that down. No, he's got 9 Don, sorry. So he could do a 9 and a 10, which I think is the way to go. Watch the discard here, though. Because if he discards a 2k, he discards a Yamato, I think he knows he's not getting another turn. He very well could. Maybe it's just bricking his hand. Maybe he just knows he can't play it. Ooh, we see the 7 into lead. Okay. That will leave him with 7 Don. So clearing the Yamato looks like it's now off the cards for the Sakazuki player. Unless we have Ice Age into like a Rob Lucci or something like that. And this is the power of information for those watching. He's dropped the Yamato down to an 8 cost. I'm just thinking of what combination of cards he could have. If he has Houndblaze, he needs more than just Ice Age, because that'll only drop it to 3. And there's the L4, like we said. That's why I think maybe a 9 and 10 could have been better, but this could also be exactly where he wants to be. Just slam down the Sabo, if he has it. So 7 Don, how's he going to do this? Five in hand. 6 is such an awkward number because they don't really play many 6 costs, so I'm not sure what he's got 6 across for. Ooh, surely not. Nah, that Borsalino can't get in the red zone here. Surely not. He's got no other attacks. I don't think we're going to see the Rush Usopp. No. To me, this telegraphs, unless there's a known card from a search, a Sky Island search potentially, the only way I can see this is acceptable is if there's a known Amaru and he's not going to follow up with any other 4-cost blockers. Is there a trigger? No trigger. Do we see the cheeky Usopp? Oh, no. Okay, so he's going to remove. Alright, okay. I still feel that's incredibly risky. So we've got Ice Age, knock it down to 3, knock it down to 1, and into Lucci or a Houndblaze. So 4, there's the Lucci, get rid of the Suru. But Enel, like, Enel just becomes lethal here. Maybe, I mean, you can do the math. If he has 4k in combo, or even 3k in combo, or but then Amaru can throw it too. But you typically, he has to have at least 4k, if not 5k of counter in hand to be passing turn there so confidently. Worth noting, he went from 5 to 2. 5 to 2 cards. Let's see what this NL player does. He's put 2 to the side. Are we going to see a 7k swing into an 8k swing from the NL? I feel that's how he shapes his path to victory. Okay, so he's going to go 8k. So 2 8ks maybe? He has to do it in this... Oh, he doesn't have to do it. I guess he has to, yeah. So opponent going through the motion right now. There must have been a known Amaru there, so I don't mind about that Borsalino, but it just means he didn't have the blockers to represent board state, so that's a perfectly fine turn there. Now, this Sakazuki player going deep in the tank. This leads me to believe he's got the NL. At this point, it could just be a mind game. He knows he has to take, but he's just making his opponent second guess. At this point, he's committed anyway. There it is. Drop the Don on. There we go. 8. Does he have it? Lay that hand out. 7. Oh, he had the 2-2Ks. He committed him to the play. So, for those wondering there, he could have comboed out of the first attack more than likely if he had the Suru and the Tashigi. But then the Enel comes down and could potentially clear someone from board. So by forcing that last, or taking that last life and going, well, the worst you can have here is a Rush Enel and put 1 done on there to go to 8k and bring it home. But anyway, that will do us for round 3. We will be back shortly with more.